My name is Keith Stevens, and I've been managing director at Peterborough Players since the end of the summer of 1995, which has been a long time. I'm here on a beautiful September morning and wishing you all were here. But, 2020 had other plans for all of us. So I'm sitting here on the patio and just wanted to share a few thoughts with you and read the afterword to Our Playhouse for you. So I'm often asked, what is my favorite play? What is my favorite moment on stage in my history here at Peterborough Players? And I have to say, it's not really a particular moment in a play. It's not a particular show that really rings true for me when I think about what my favorite is. But I do have something that I love to do, and that is to go into the back of the house and watch the audience watch the show. And here's the reason why. And we are in an age when, even before 2020 and everything it has brought us happened, we're in an age where we can sit alone in our rooms, in our houses, in the dark, and still, through our technology, be totally connected with the whole world, again, while being totally alone. And I don't know about any of you, but I think human beings are meant to be social creatures. We're meant to be together. We're meant to share experiences with each other. And the theater is a place that allows us to do that. And I am a great believer in the power of sharing those moments. So when I'm in the back of the house and I'm watching all of you watch the show, my absolute favorite moments are when it's so quiet you can hear a pin drop. And the audience is at the edge of their seats and they're just in the world that all of our artists have created on stage. And that's when I know we've got you. That's when I know that that whole room is connected and sharing an experience. That's what I live for as a theater professional. That's my favorite moments. So before I begin reading the Our Playhouse afterward, I want to give a shout out to Allen Sherman, who wrote the book back in 2007, 2008. Without his labor of love, we wouldn't have had this wonderful experience of sharing the history of the Players with all of you. I want to thank Tim Clark for his editing that he did back in the day on that book, to everyone who was interviewed and contributed to the book, and to all the Players from 1933 to today. I want to give everybody a thank you for everything you have done for this beautiful little theater. And so now I'm going to read something that I wrote back in 2007. It is a little dated, I will say. That was a while ago. A number of the people I mention are no longer with us. But the sentiment remains the same. And I hope it's something you all feel too. So here we go. People who work in the theater are generally a superstitious lot. We don't allow peacock feathers. We don't say the name of the Scottish play out loud. We don't whistle where we work. The list goes on and on. One of the reasons for all the superstitions is that we don't want to wake the ghosts that many believe are present in every theater building. Most theaters feel like they might have ghosts. In some, like the Players, the feeling is palpable. While I personally have never believed in ghosts, I have come to feel that there is something in the barn at the end of Hadley Road. My introduction to the Peterborough Players was in the spring of 1995, when I interviewed with the search committee in the front of the stage. By this time, of course, the old screen doors had been replaced with the lobby we know today, and very little natural light reached the table where we sat. I will admit that my initial impressions of the structure, at least of the theater itself, were not that favorable. I also didn't notice any ghosts. However, I liked all the people I met, thanks Dick, Audrey, Laura, Jim, etc. And when the job was offered, I eagerly accepted. I started working during the last 2 plays of the 1995 season. Perhaps an awkward time to begin, but the board wanted me to have a transition period with Ellen, the outgoing producing director. I was able to see the general insanity of a summer stock schedule. It had been a while since I had worked for a summer company. Met some great people, saw some shows, helped greet the first padded chairs, which we still use at the back of the theater and for extra seats, and started to learn of the history of the place. I also started to feel that there was something special about the players and began to feel a presence. Maybe ghosts, maybe not. One evening after the 95 season, I began to truly realize the historical importance of the players. I had my 2.5-year-old daughter Anastasia with me, and before we started the long trip back to Nashua, where we lived at the time, I took her to use the bathroom. When we came out, she screamed and ran back into the bathroom. Colin Craig, the longtime business manager, was standing in the hallway, lost in thought, or was it reverie? Staring at the photos of past seasons that line the walls there. I should point out that at the time, Anastasia was very afraid of men with facial hair, and Colin, at that time, had a full white beard. Both she and Colin recovered from the incident. From that point, I felt I had a responsibility to all the players that had preceded me. From that point, I knew there was something about the place. To this day, I can't walk down that hallway without looking at the pictures. If you had asked me in 1995 how long I would remain in Peterborough, I would have probably answered 5 years, tops. If you had told me that 12 years later I would be writing a postscript for the 75-year history of the players, I probably would have asked you what you were smoking. But the town grew on Joanne and me, and so did the players, as it has grown on so many people over the years. And after this long, I think I have begun to figure out what that something is. Even when I have been the last person in the building late at night, and believe me, that has happened a lot, I have never really felt alone. Not ghosts exactly, and not scary, but not alone. There is something that I'm aware of as I walk through the quiet, empty building and lock up for the evening. Something that began with EBS, grew with Sally, and has continued to this day. After all, there has to be an explanation for what has kept this most improbable of summer theaters alive and well. A 75-year-old small theater where the most produced playwright is Shaw in a town of 5,000 that is not a tourist destination? Very improbable. There has to be something that keeps playgoers coming back year after year. There are still people who tell me, I began coming to the players in 1940. Something that has kept acting companies together for years, from the early days through Chuck Morey's tenure in the 70s and 80s to the crew that has called the players their artistic home since Gus Kaikonen and I arrived in 1995. It certainly isn't the money or the less than luxurious amenities and accommodations. Something that makes seasonal staff return again and again for long hours, short pay, and rustic, at best, working conditions. For that matter, there has to be something that brings apprentices and interns back for a second and sometimes third year of even longer hours and even shorter pay. Something that has kept a stage and screen icon like James Whitmore affiliated with the players since 1947. In his bio from the 2007 program, Jim wrote, quote, "He broke the seal on his professional career here and had returned many times to absorb the creative nourishment it provides," unquote. What is it that has given Jim that feeling for over 60 years? I believe that the answer is the spirit of the Peterborough Players. It is a spirit that has allowed all the theater practitioners who have come and gone to treat the audiences with respect. It has infused the founding family and the boards of trustees that followed them with the passion to keep this place going through good times and bad. It has made the art of theater and the people who make the art be of equal importance. It has made anyone who passed through the stage door and allowed themselves to understand a Peterborough player for life. Gus and I still feel that spirit today. I hope and believe that we always will. And I know we are not alone. Thank you so much, everybody.